We all take out the garbage on different days, yes, but we all do it. The question is, are we doing it right? Because today we are talking about biodegradable trash bags, garbage bags, bioplastic bags, compostable trash bags, all the bags. Hello everybody, I'm Lal. Welcome back to Sustainable Jungle, where we share sustainability tips, tricks, hacks, products, brands, and stories to better our planet. So biodegradable trash bags, what are they? Do they work? Should you use them? When should you use them, and which ones should you use? You have a lot of questions and we have a lot of answers. Sort of. Just FYI, this is not a sponsored video. I bought all these biodegradable trash bags that we're testing out, and they're from some of the most popular brands online. Now, we're going to dive into each of these products to see how they stack up, or rather break down. Sounds boring? It is. But let's first talk about what a biodegradable trash bag is. I wish there was a quick explanation for this, but yeah, like most things in life, there's not. Biodegradable trash bags are not all equal, obviously, but you could say they fall into two main categories: biodegradable plastic bags and bioplastic bags. Now, biodegradable plastics are typically just petrochemical-based plastics, or plastics that's been made from fossil fuels that has certain additives which are designed to help the bags break down faster. First question, how fast exactly? Well, there's been a bunch of studies in the last few years, and I won't go into the specific details of each, but let's just say their performance was seriously underwhelming. Even bags left to biodegrade in a marine environment with algae were still functional after something like 3 years. And the second question is, faster into what? Probably microplastics. With some leftover toxic residue, why not? I mean, you may have already seen stores and retailers refer to their biodegradable plastic bags as photodegradable or oxodegradable. Nothing to get excited about. I'm sorry, it just means it breaks down in the presence of light and oxygen. Well done. And at the end of the day, biodegradable plastics bags are just as bad as regular conventional plastics, only more expensive. Bioplastic bags, on the other hand, are usually made from plant-based and renewable materials like corn, grains, starch, vegetable oils, and sugarcane. Take PLA or polylactic acid, for example. It's made from sugars in sugarcane or cornstarch. Its properties are very similar actually to polyethylene and polypropylene plastics, but they're generally free of toxins like BPA. They have a significantly lower carbon footprint over their lifetime, and it doesn't take like 600 years forever to break down. Exactly how long does a bioplastic trash bag take to decompose? Well, it all kind of depends on what they're actually made of, and crucially, where they end up. Because in an ideal scenario, if the biodegradable trash bag is made of, say, compostable plastic per the ASTM D6400 standard, getting Terminator vibes right now, it should biodegrade in not more than 180 days, which is great, except that I said it also crucially depends on where you're throwing that compostable garbage bag. Typically, it should go to an industrial composting facility, which reaches high enough temperatures to break down these bags in a certain time frame, which is actually not easy because surprisingly, there are few composting facilities even in many first world countries. And if you don't live in an area with curbside composting, you can use Find a Composter. I'll pop the link below to find where you should send your bagged food scraps in the US. And many composting facilities are classified according to accepted feedstocks, which vary state by state. So be sure to look for those that accept mixed solid waste. It's usually class 1. But what you absolutely want to avoid is sending that compostable trash bag with all your organics to the landfill, where it will anaerobically languish for hundreds of years with no oxygen, producing methane, which is like way more potent greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. In that case, don't use a bioplastic bag if you know it's going to landfill. You're better off using recycled plastic bags to minimize your carbon footprint. So to summarize, bioplastic trash bags that are compostable are where it's at. They're far more sustainable than biodegradable plastic. You just have to make sure that you dispose of them correctly. And how do you know if a trash bag is compostable though? It's a good question. The easiest way is to look for certifications that sound like different Terminator models. Seriously, if a brand calls its product or packaging compostable, then it must, according to the FTC, back that up with reliable and scientific evidence through third-party testing. If you live in the US, look out for the Biodegradable Products Institute BPI compostable logo, and this means that a product or packaging meets either the ASTM D6400 and or the ASTM D6868 standards, which basically just means that 90% of it can break down into CO2 in an industrial composter within 180 days. But there are currently no US-based home compostable standards, so you'll have to rely on TUV Austria's OK Home Compost certification and the Australasian Bioplastics Association, or ABA, Home Compostable logo. If you see these, then you can happily pop that biodegradable bag with your organics in your home composter or pass on the love to local farmers or community gardens. It's also probably worth mentioning that the FTC is looking to revise these green guides this year. So you can expect to see some rule changes around how products and packaging are marketed as compostable and biodegradable. Now, let's get down to our home composting review. As I said, we chose some of the most popular biodegradable bags on the market that are available on most of the e-coms, I guess, from Earth Hero to Amazon, but I suggest, buying through Earth Hero because Amazon. Now, a couple of things I want to mention about our super scientific methodology. I actually ran this test over a 12-week period, and I was going to use our composting drum, and you're supposed to turn it once a day to keep things moving along. But since that would make it really tricky to identify which bag is which, I decided to use our small vermicomposter and place a strip of each bag on top of the compost for easy identification. So yes, the worms will definitely change the game, and depending on your own composting solution, your mileage will definitely vary. It's also worth noting that none of these bags made claims about how long exactly they would take to biodegrade. And because conditions can again vary, so will your mileage. But they do all hold TUV Austria's OK Home Compost certification, among other certs, which guarantees 90%, as I said, 90% of each will degrade within 6 months in your home compost. And also, FYI, they're all about the same thickness, 18 to 21 microns, so we're dealing as close to apples with apples as we can. Let's get this over with. And the first brand, and probably the most recognized in this niche, is Biobag. They're an international privately owned company that make a range of home compostable garbage bags in California. They have different bags for different needs, like pet waste bags, compost bin bags and liners, resealable bags, yard waste bags, snack bags, and they come in several sizes depending on your needs. And these are all made out of Made or Bi, which is a range of bioplastics created from plants such as cornstarch and biodegradable polymers sourced from renewable raw materials. And hey, it promises no microplastics. They have a lot of certifications like ISO 9001, ISO 14001, ensuring quality management and environmental systems, non-GMO, project verified, TUV Austria, OK Compost and Home Compost, and BPI compostable in industrial facilities per the ASTM D6400 and the ABA AS 4736 standard for industrial facilities. They've got all the Terminator models in other words. And I'm happy to report that their product stacks up. I bought the 10 liter or 2.6 gallon, and it functions exactly like a normal food waste bag should. Good carrying capacity, as you can see, that's a 10-pound weight in there. The only gripe I have, and this goes for all these bags, is that they're not all that strong. Okay, it does hold that weight, but they often tear when you pull them out of the compost bin. This is probably because though, it is fairly thin and it is made out of bioplastics, and that's probably a trade-off to ensure it actually composts. So I'm sure I'm not the only one here, but a word of caution, don't put too much in these, even though it can hold a lot. Also, the advice is to swap them out after about 3 days because they start to biodegrade. As for this one, there's not a whole lot of degradation over the 12-week period, as you can see, but I can say the bag itself feels pretty brittle, like it's very close to breaking down. Perhaps with a bit more heat and worm action, very likely to be done and dusted within that 6 months window. And next up is Uni. They make compostable trash bags, drawstring bags, bags with handles, resealable bags, poop bags, storage bags, and food prep gloves from 2.6 gallons all the way up to 65 gallons. Now, there's not much info on the company itself, where exactly based and where they manufacture, but what I can say is these bags are designed in San Fran, and they're made of corn and plant starch and promise to decompose in your compost, leaving only water, humus, and CO2. They've got all the certs to back up their claims from BPI, TUV Austria, OK Compost and Home, and Industrial, and the European certification Seedling Compostable. I decided to go with their 3-gallon food scrap bags, and no issue with carrying capacity here. 10 pounds of food waste, will be absolutely fine for a few days. Now, Uni actually broke down the fastest by quite a stretch. You can't even identify the bag itself, just a few slivers that remains, as you can see, and those are pretty slim and flimsy at that. So this is the most efficient biodegradable trash bag I've tested. It seems like cornstarch and plant starch is the way to go to fast track biodegradation. One minor difference though is that this bag was placed in the middle of the composter. How much difference that actually made, I wouldn't be able to say. but I don't think much, if anything. And number 3 is ProGreen's compostable garbage bags. They don't seem to sell bags for specific purposes, rather just different weight categories that range all the way, from 3 gallons all the way to 33 gallons. And I couldn't find much about this company, but it is one of the most popular brands in this niche. And as BPI certified, each product meets the ASTM D6400 and TUV Austria OK Compost Home standards. No problems managing that 10-pound weight. See, pretty firm. As you can see though, this one didn't really break down in our 12-week time frame. Not much action going on here, but similar to Biobag, it does feel thinner and more brittle, and given more time, I'd say, it would break down within our 6-month window. And number 4 is Primemode, who make an eclectic mix of products from holiday storage to wreath and wrapping paper boxes to motorized tire racks and regular trash bags. But let's focus here. Much like Uni and ProGreen, there's not much info on Primemode, nor do they give much away in their secret recipe other than to say that their compostable bags are made of plants and vegetables and come in sizes 2.6 to 33 gallons. They do meet the ASTM D6400 and TUV Austria OK Compost Home standards though, so if you do go for one of these and you bought them before, you're still in the clear. And much like the others, you can see it holds a decent amount of garbage, no problem. Though, as I've said, after a few days of holding organic matter, it starts to lose its integrity like all the other bags. Otherwise, this one degraded almost exactly the same as ProGreen's, no visual evidence of degradation, but to the touch, it definitely feels thinner and more brittle. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys use a very similar or the same manufacturer. And the last one, and my personal favorite, is Give a Why are they my favorite? Well, besides the great name and besides being a dog person, they also pay it forward. 10% of their profits go to animal protection charities like the Soy Dog Foundation in Phuket, which rescues and treats and rehomes dogs and cats. Their bags come in a box that's made of 100% recycled cardboard, and these are 100% leak-proof, which is like a non-negotiable here, right? They have a super simple range with just 2 products on offer, and depending on how you approach the situation, you can opt for a standard compostable bag or one with handles. And these are made of cornstarch and BPAT, which is biodegradable and compostable polymer and edible glycerin. They're TUV Austria Home Compost certified to be ASTM D6400 and EN 13432 standards. Of course, if you are home composting your dog poop, good stuff, you may want to keep that organic matter separate from any compost you use for edible plants you actually intend on eating. Just so you know, it's up to you. As for the weight bearing test, hopefully your dog doesn't make 10 pounds. So this one, it should be irrelevant. As for the breakdown though, it actually had the least amount of degradation, and maybe that's a good thing if it's holding poop. I don't know. Guess it depends on your doggy do composting solution. And that's it. That is it. So what is the takeaway? You could pretty much buy any one of these garbage bags, compostable garbage bags, and I'm pretty sure they would, given enough time, all break down within a compostable time frame. But the environmental difference really comes down to where you're sending them once they've been used. I'll add links to all the resources I mentioned and a link to a recent video that we did on the difference between compostable and biodegradable, which specifically goes into that wonderful topic, which makes sustainability so easy to follow. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe button, any button if sustainable living is your thing. I'm Lyle from Sustainable Jungle. Much love, and I'll be back. That was a Terminator reference. Happy composting, friends.